Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk movies, television, and wrestling. I'm, of course, the Lemon himself, Zeke Lamone, and this is my review for Monday Night Raw. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Shout out to leave a like, comment below, let me know your thoughts on Monday Night Raw, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into it, shall we? So, yeah, we are full throttle on the road to WrestleMania, and this episode of Monday Night Raw, I thought was a very solid episode. Online will have you thinking the other way, but I thought the segments that we did, for the most part, I think we really knocked them out of the park. I really like everything we did with the Judgment Day. I like what we did at the end with CM Punk. And I really like the Stephanie Becker video package that was being aired. Hopefully next week we get Liv and Stephanie in the ring together. We'll get more into that a little bit, but I want to start at the start, right? With Seth Rollins, because that seems to be the one where a lot of people have a lot of strong opinions on. I saw people saying this was the worst segment in Raw history, worst segment of 2026, and I just don't agree with that whatsoever. Now, did I think this segment was absolutely great? No. Did this segment also scream, we don't know who Seth Rollins is going to face at WrestleMania yet because we don't know if Braun Breaker is going to be cleared? Yes. That is very much what this screamed. Now, for a lot of people who are complaining about the Masked Man portion of it, I see your point, but when they first come out, right, Seth Rollins is on the announce table, and then all the other Masked Men come out. The crowd is chanting, holy shit. So they're into it, right? The overall general audience, or at least, where were they? In Seattle, were very much digging the whole Masked Man vibe. Now, the next portion, where they all got in the ring and, they were doing the little shuffle to, make it seem like we don't know which one is Seth Rollins, and then Seth Rollins pops out. I didn't necessarily need it, and I don't think we need to necessarily do that. They could have stayed on the outside, and then Seth Rollins could have just walked into it, and then him and Adam Pearce could have, because why does he have to fool Adam Pearce? And I'm glad Adam Pearce even brought up, like, I didn't need all that. We could just talk. Like, I don't need all the hustle and bustle. And then, he's talking about, the Vision. Then here comes the Vision. Logan Paul's talking. They say Paul Heyman's could be out indefinitely. Then here comes LA Knight. And then here come the Usos, right? And then, that was it. That was the end of the segment. I actually really liked the second part of that segment quite a bit. When the Vision does come out, they say, yes, Seth, we are going to kill you, and you will be on the show forever. And then he puts the mask back on, and the Masked Man come in, and then the shuffle does it. Then if we would have saved it for there, I think the segment probably would have been interpreted a little bit differently, because to me it worked. I did lose Seth. I didn't know which one was him when they started walking. I was like, okay, that's actually pretty cool. In a way, it's kind of like Venom in the symbiote, like when he's like putting it back on, it's like, and then they disappeared and then they vanished. That part was pretty cool. The beginning portion, yeah, a little corny, I'll give it to you. Again, is it a segment that really knocks it out of the park? No. Should this have been at the start of Monday Night Raw? Probably not. I think this was one that we probably could have just gotten straight to the gauntlet, and it would have been fine. Or even Obafemi versus Rusev, just a quick, adrenaline rush on the card. But again, it was fine. It was truly, truly fine. If I could have reshuffled the show a little bit, I probably would have done the Dominic Mysterio, the Judgment Day angle at the beginning, because I think that was a really good hot angle. Really did feel like a WrestleMania segment in a lot of ways. But, we started off with Seth Rollins, and, that was our first impression of the episode. But again, I did not think it was the worst thing that was, not even just this year or even ever, as I saw some people were saying online. It was fine. Now, we'll get into the matches a little bit, even though they weren't really the main focus of this episode of Monday Night Raw. The Gauntlet was a lot of fun. I really liked the pairings, Lyra and Io. I wonder if we are going to do Asuka versus Io at WrestleMania. I did my prediction video yesterday, and I said Io was going to go to SmackDown and go for the Women's U.S. title. We kind of hinted at that, and there was a reason why Io was pulled from the Julia match, and we put Rhea Ripley in. So I thought, she'll go over there, and it'll be like a makeshift fatal four-way match. But at the beginning of Monday Night Raw, where they're showing everyone walk into the building, which, again, I really don't need. I think that should be a pre-show exclusive. And once we get into the show starts. I get it's a good narrative to show, all the storylines that are going to be transparent throughout the show is a good setup to know about everything that's going to be coming between the 2 to 3 hours, depending on what day you're going to watch the show. I'm just over at this point. I don't need to see everyone walk in. However, when the Kabuki Warriors are walking in, if you look in the background, which they did a lot of background stuff on this episode of Monday Night Raw, really made backstage feel alive again, which we haven't had in quite some time. You did see Io looking on, watching Asuka treating Kairi awfully. Now, also later on in the show, when Javon and Kofi are having their talk, and I think it's like as they're wrapping up, you do see like Asuka, I don't know if she was like just pushing Kairi or they're going to the trainers thing, or even this was supposed to be a thing, but also kind of looked like Asuka was like choking Kairi, and I don't know if I saw Io in that as well, but again, backstage is feeling very lively within that. What other backstage stuff we had? Oh, when Danhausen cursed the original El Grande Americano, and then you see Ryo and Bravo in the background sneaking up, and they have like the most cartoonish sneak as well as they're heading to the OG. That was really, really funny. And then the new El Grande shows up. I will admit, I am very surprised by not one, how much I'm enjoying that feud, but how excited I am to see the Grandes face each other next week on Monday Night Raw. It's not mask versus mask yet, so we can get the other one at WrestleMania, which I do think it is going to happen. But I am actually really excited to see that match and to see where we go from here. As for the other matches on here, you know, we had Penta versus El Grande Americano. The new one, it was supposed to be the original for the IC Championship. Fun match for the most part. I do like how the stronger Penta gets, the more pyro he receives on his entrance, because God, that would make Cody Rhodes blush in a lot of ways. He had a nice little promo beforehand. Again, Danhausen cursed the original El Grande, so here comes the new one. And so far, that's 2 for 2. That Danhausen cursed someone that benefited Penta. So I wonder if that's going to be an ongoing bit when it comes to Monday Night Raw. We'll keep our eye out for that. But yeah, fun match there. And then Obafemi versus Rusev. Pretty quick for my liking. I would have liked for it to go a little bit longer. But also, I don't know what more they could have done. I mean, when Obafemi threw Rusev, that was very, very impressive. And Obafemi should have won. And Rusev did the job, and he did it well. I do say Rusev does feel a little directionless in a lot of ways, and I hope we do get a little bit better focus post-WrestleMania season and actually get him properly going. Maybe we need to move him to SmackDown. Maybe Raw just wasn't the place for him. Because, you know, on SmackDown we have 3 hours and we can really develop that up a little bit more. While Raw, you know, there's only so little slots that we can do there. But yeah, again, overall, the matches were fine. Now let's get into the segments. We talked about the opening one. We also talked about what was it? The Stephanie Becker video. It was good. That blend, you know, Liv Morgan got to do her video last week about why she worked the hardest, and, you know, it doesn't matter that she had a bye in her eyes, you know, working at 20, getting WWE job at 20. She was training with the best while you were training with the scums. Stephanie Becker got to retaliate. My only criticism when it comes to this feud so far. So in the gauntlet, while Raquel's facing Bayley or Io, Stephanie comes out to beat up Liv, right? They beat up. They run out. Cool, whatever. Then Stephanie has the video showing about, like, you know, you may be good, but I'm also good. It doesn't matter where we come from. And I'm going to show from you know, the indie scene about just how good of a wrestler that I can be, right? Again, next week, let's get this presentation within the faces of each other and have them promo off of each other in the ring. Now that we will be, 4 weeks until WrestleMania, at that point, it's time. We got to really heat this up a little bit more. But when they come out again, because, you know, they're going to do the big angle where Finn Balor gets kicked out. I don't know why Stephanie didn't come out again. So what? She beat up Liv Morgan. I want to go, okay, I got her. Let me do this video that I've been working on. You know, I'm finishing up the final sets on the edit. I'm going to post it. All right, guys, I'm out. I'm leaving for the day. I don't know why Stephanie didn't come out again. A little bit of a plot hole there, but again, we're focusing on Finn Balor. Finally, after, man, we've been teasing this breakup for maybe over a year at this point, because I think we started the teasing at WrestleMania 41, like on the road to it. And then, you know, it was like a start, stop type of thing. But here we are. Dom's like, you better be giving me a new title match. And then Finn going, look, I'm sorry. It is my fault that you lost. But, you know, you said you wanted to do it on your own. And, you know, he's actually taking Punk's words. I'm going to try to elevate you. You need to learn to do things on your own. I can't. Not everyone's going to be able to help you every single time. And if they do, then maybe your dad was right. And, of course, that was the final straw. Dom pushes. Finn does the fake, taking off the jacket, but hits him with the Pele kick. They beat him up. And then JD also turns on Finn Balor here. I had predicted that we were going to do Dom versus Finn with JD as the special guest referee. I guess that's why I'm wearing the referee shirt. But nope, JD already chose his side. He clotheslined Finn Balor, which also got a big reaction from the crowd. Got a big reaction from me as well. Like, I did not expect him to do the turn yet here. And then, you know, Judgment Day completely beats him up and they battered him. You know, they beat him up with steel chairs. You know, the frog splash on the steel chair. 619 with the hammer in the boot. So now we are full throttle that. Again, it felt like a good mid-card WrestleMania program there. And it felt like a big moment. It did truly feel like a moment in time. I'm looking forward to it. I thought they really executed. Maybe the segment of the night for me was that, because we've been anticipating that for a long time, and it got to a point where we didn't even know if we were going to get it, and then we did get it, and again, it was very satisfying to watch. Now it's on for the next level. Finn Balor is finally a babyface again. Again, to me, arguably the best segment of the night. Then once again, we close out with CM Punk. Roman Reigns was not going to be on this show, so the substitute was the Usos. Usos come out earlier in the night. Jackie Redmond is doing the interview with him, like, what do you have to say about CM Punk's thoughts about, because, you know, he talked about his family. And what I really liked about this segment, and, you know, again, Judgment Day is one, but this segment is also two. I really enjoyed the complexity of this promo battle. And I liked how we went back to, you know, the Bloodline days. Like, I don't know if they're going to reform the Bloodline at WrestleMania. I would say I would be against it overall if we were, just because I think we're doing some pretty good stuff with them on their own. To go back to them all being together seems a little too early, because they've been together for so long. But Jey Uso going back to, you know, being that really emotional, you better apologize, like super crazy. That was fun to see. And Jimmy being the level-headed one, like, look, we don't care that you talk crap about Roman Reigns. We honestly could care less. What we have a problem with is that you speak on the dead. He cannot defend himself. So if you could please just apologize for speaking on the dead. That's it. And that's honestly a very reasonable thing to do. You know, Jay was coming very strong, but Jimmy was trying to be reasonable. Like, look, we like you, Punk. We really do. We can say you friends, but you crossed the line, so we want you to apologize. And, you know, even the crowd's even getting on it. Hey, you know, they deserve it. And then Punk, who's so headstrong, and also this seemed to be his plan, because they do cut back to him after they shove and punch him, where he has a little bit of a smile. So this is something he wanted to happen. So we'll see what happens next week. Punk's bringing up, like, why am I having to apologize when Roman has manipulated y'all for years and not once have you demanded an apology from him? Or what about when he brought up Dusty and said, you know, he is irrelevant. He wasn't able to defend himself then. You didn't ask for him to apologize back then, so why am I being asked to apologize when he refuses to do that to you? And, you know, he and I'm sorry for y'all that he has to keep seeing his young boys, you know, making them feel little. And I don't know if the play is that, okay, they're going to get mad at me. I might get punched. But hopefully next week when Roman's back, the Usos say, we want our apology. And to really manipulate and to really get into Roman's head. But I really did like how you can really see both sides. Yes, you don't speak on the dead. Whether you're a spiritual person like me and the Usos or not, you know, you shouldn't speak on the dead. If they can't defend themselves, there's no reason to speak on them unless it's to, honor them or remember them. That's just how I see it. So therefore, I understand where the Usos are coming from. It also goes all the way back to WrestleMania 40 with 4T, the road that everyone wants to keep talking about and can't move on from because it was so great. The reason why The Rock turned heel to begin with is because Cody speaked on the dead. He speaked about, Roman's grandfather, or was it Rock's grandfather? And he said he'll be ashamed of you. And Rock was like, what do you do? You don't talk about my family like that. Then he slapped Cody Rhodes, and then that what brought Rock to be a heel. So, there is Anoa'i. I don't know if I'm saying their last name right, so I'm really apologize if I'm saying it wrong. But there's Anoa'i lore within that, or bloodline lore, I should say, so that can I don't sound like a fool more than I already am. But the bloodline lore of don't speak on the dead is very intriguing to me and very interesting. But also, again, to Punk's point of why am I being demanded an apology so fast when Roman hasn't yet to apologize for anything? The manipulation, speaking on Dusty because he was dead. So what are we doing here? And to me, again, it was just an overall really good segment, and I'm looking forward to next week. I would assume Roman's going to bring up that dog. He's going to bring up Larry, and we'll see how it goes. But so far, the Roman and CM Punk feud, 3 weeks of actual focus on each other, they've hit it out of the park every single time, and Roman wasn't even here. So yeah, worthy of being the overall main event of WrestleMania. Can't wait for next week. Brock Lesnar's going to be back. Even when they announced Brock Lesnar, you have to wonder what are his thoughts on Seth Rollins. So clearly, if Braun Breaker's not good to go, it'll be Brock versus Seth, right? Which again, and I do have that predicted on my WrestleMania predictions. Go ahead and check out that video. And after you get done with this and liking this video, if you made it this far within the review, I do greatly appreciate it. Comment below, let me know your thoughts on Monday Night Raw, and hit that subscribe button as I am trying to grow into my YouTube career. Don't forget to squeeze the days, guys, because life is too short not to give you all. So squeeze every opportunity that you can. Until next time, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.